Welcome to Attic Raiders Retro Reviews, where today we're going head to head for some noggin knocking action as we take a look at Battle Conkers. Battle Conkers were a line of Madball-inspired toys released by Vivid Imaginations in 1999, based on the traditional British game of Conkers. Before we get down to the Battle Conkers themselves, let's take a quick segue to explore the game that inspired them. The game of Conkers in its traditional form can be dated back to 1848, where children's games in street and playground cites the first recorded game taking place on the Isle of Wight, just south of England, though there are records of a similar game being played with snail shells or hazelnuts 27 years earlier. Conkers is usually played with the seed of the horse chestnut tree, which are usually fully formed and ready to use between September and October. The seed pods from most horse chestnut trees are really spiky in order to protect the seed inside, but once it falls off of the tree, if you give it a bit of a squeeze, it should just crack open quite easily and you can find the Conker seed inside, and this is what we're going to use in order to play the traditional game of Conkers. Obviously you're looking for the biggest one that you can find. To prepare for our game, we first take our Conker seed and carefully drill a hole right the way through. We then take a piece of string, which traditionally would be a school child's shoelace, and thread it straight through the Conker before going on to tie a really big knot in order to hold it in place on the end of the string. And of course you can tie a knot at the other side as well to help keep it in place. You can harden your Conker in the oven or in vinegar, but that's generally seen as cheating. To play then, you're going to take it in turns where one person is going to hold their Conker dangling from the full length of their string. The other player is going to take theirs on their string and basically whack onto the other Conker and try to destroy it, taking it in turns, and if you destroy it, then you win the game and your Conker gets a point. So it goes from a zeroer to a oneer or a twoer or a threeer, depending on how many other Conkers it's managed to destroy. And that's it, off of the string, so that Conker loses. Alternatively, some players might string up their Conker like this so that the knot will not go through the hole in the Conker when it gets hit really hard, and the Conker would have to be destroyed before it comes off of the string. So as you can see, eventually somebody's going to win and somebody is going to lose. Doesn't matter if you were the striker or the one being struck, whichever one breaks is the loser. Hoping to capitalise on Conker's 151 years of gameplay and the 80s and 90s craze for small monster-faced balls, Vivid Imaginations released Battle Conkers in 2 packs, often with a third free limited edition Battle Conker included. There's very little information about Battle Conkers around today, but there were at least 28 different Conkers released, with an additional 2 limited edition gold Conkers available as a mail-in offer when you collected 9 proof of purchase tokens. Now I say that there were 28 different Conkers available, but what there were was 12 different sculpts, with each available in 2 different paint applications. And yes, that does only add to 24 Conkers. I don't actually know what the other 4 were, but they were most likely just additional repaints. Although there are colour variations out there that don't seem to match anything on the packaging. So just how many different ones were actually released is a bit of a mystery. Battle Conkers were separated into 2 warring factions, the androids and the mutants, with each team consisting of 4 beasts, 4 marines and 4 aliens, though factions and types don't actually do anything in the game. Sporting gnarly names like Impaler, Cyber Slayer, Mutant Maniac and Blade Man, the artwork of the Conkers on the packaging was pretty rad, but the actual sculpts on the toys themselves left a lot to be desired. So let's take a closer look at these half-forgotten oddities and see if there's a decent game in there. Battle Conkers came with their own belt case so that you could clip it onto your belt to take with you anywhere you wanted, ready to play a game, and just so that you could look really cool. Obviously, each Battle Conker case only holds 2 Battle Conkers, but you could get as many of these onto your belt as you wanted. It's a nice sturdy plastic that clips open, and once you've opened it up, you've got your 2 Conkers and space down here for some spare power shields, which you are going to need because if you lose in this game, you're going to give up power shield parts, and apart from anything, you're probably just going to lose these pieces anyway. The Battle Conkers that I've got here are both androids and they're both Marines. This one here is Punisher and this one is Commander. You can see the sculpts on these, well, they're okay. They definitely don't live up to the expectations set by the artwork on the back of the packaging. In fact, I've got to say, they're pretty duff. I don't really like the sculpts on these at all. But let's take a closer look. Well, we've got our actual Conker piece itself here, which is kind of semi-hollow, really, made from a hard plastic. We've got a slightly rubberized section here, this black bit. In fact, it's really very hard. We've got string here attaching up to a slightly rubberized finger piece, which slips on over your finger so that you can hang your Battle Conker ready to be struck. And I have to say, the sculpting on this, of the faces on here, is much nicer than the actual sculpting of the Conkers themselves. Each of the Conkers has got 3 power shields making up part of it. So we've got one here, which can come out like this, one over here, which comes out like this, and one right in the middle of the face, which comes out like this. Now, these power shields, if you're playing for keeps, will potentially end up going to your opponent, leaving you with a toy which looks like this, which is essentially worthless. It is completely useless because you can't play with it without the power shields, which is kind of a major drawback. It's one of the reasons why you get spare power shields, but if you're playing for keeps, you're very quickly going to end up with a toy that you can't use and is going to end up getting binned. The power shield pieces just simply clip back into place like this, and the back of the packaging does say that they're interchangeable between all Battle Conkers. However, I think you'll quickly notice and agree that if you do interchange them, then they look really, really stupid, and I definitely would not be doing that. So if you lose pieces, you're out of luck. There is very well, there are silver pieces that come with the packaging, which are very generic, which you can use for putting into place, but again, really doesn't look very good. So you either have to be good at this game and keep winning it, or you're going to end up with something that just looks, well, even worse than it already did. To play the game just like traditional Conkers, the receiver is going to hold out their Battle Conker at arm's length, ready to be struck, and then the striker takes their Battle Conker and holds it like this, ready to attack, hitting in a downward motion, not from the side, because if you hit it from the side, it's not going to get these power shields at all. In order to get these out, you're going to have to hit them from the top so that they pop out like this. So there's one power shield gone already. That's a second power shield gone. And that's the last one gone. Of course, you would be taking turns doing this, being the striker and the receiver. It wouldn't just be 3 goes in a row like I've done in that demonstration. And that's it. That's the game of Battle Conkers. As a game concept, there's nothing wrong with Battle Conkers. After all, the traditional game has been popular for over 150 years. But as a toy, well, it just doesn't really cut it. Things like Madballs and Blurp Balls have got much less potential for play, but they've been far, far more popular over the years. And that comes down to the fact that they've got really great designs, which are full of character and detail, whereas Battle Conkers are low in detail with poorly executed sculpts, often looking like slowly rotting fruit or amorphous blobs. It's a game almost designed to fail, with pieces the power shields deliberately flying off everywhere in random directions, and they're very, very small. They are going to get lost. In fact, I lost 2 of these. Thankfully, I found them again, but I lost 2 power shields just in the filming of this video. And without the power shields, you can't play this game. Your toy, your Battle Conker, is rendered useless, and that's going to happen if you lose games as well, not just if you lose the pieces, because if you lose the games, you're going to have to give up your pieces to the winner. These are also toys which are designed to smash against each other, and you are going to get chipping and paint flaking on these, and the toys themselves are potentially going to crack and break just like real Conkers. It's an interesting concept, but as an overall toy and game, it's really not great. But what do you think? Has it got potential? Is it a good game? Do you collect these? Do you remember playing with them back in the day? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you've liked what you've seen here, please remember to like and subscribe. We'll have plenty more vintage toys and games for you next time, so check us out on Attic Raiders Retro Reviews.